Let's see how long you can endure.
Yo, what's up guys, StirPhry here, and today we're checking out Krau. We're gonna take a look at his kit, see where and how to use him, how to gear him, and see if he is worth it to you. Now Krau is a 5-star Ice Knight. His skill 1 is Sword Storm. He simply just hits you with his sword with a 50 up to 75% chance to provoke, and the damage does scale off of his max HP. His skill 2 is Charge. He will dash and smash into you, pushing your CR back by 35 up to 50%. He will also grant his entire team defense buff for 2 turns. The damage from this also scales off of his max HP. Now the skill 3 is what makes Krau who he is. It is what makes him so freaking scary and so freaking strong. It is Summon Siegfried, also known as Horse. It will deal a flat amount of damage based on how much HP he can last. Your defense doesn't matter. You cannot evade this skill. The only thing that can save you is a skill nullifier or damage mitigation. So what are the pros and cons to Krau? The pros are that the more damage he takes, the more damage he will deal with his S3. The S3 allows him to one-shot nearly anybody in the game as long as you build him with enough HP and that he has lost enough HP. His S2 also gives a defense buff to the entire team, which is insanely useful. With that S1 provoke, he will make you hit him, which will make him lose health, which will make his S3 stronger, so it all synergizes together. The defense buff also makes it so that he doesn't take too much damage, which will then give him a chance to horse before he dies. Now what are the cons to Krau? It's very hard to think of a con because Krau is just all around a very solid unit. I guess the only thing I can think of is that his S3 is on a pretty long cooldown. Though it's only 5 turns, so it's not that bad considering how insanely strong this skill is. So where do we use Krau? I personally do not find him very useful in any of the hunts, but I do use him in the Fire Expedition as a frontline tank. Now PvP is where Krau definitely shines because he can be used anywhere. On arena defense, he can be put there and just soak up damage and eventually horse. You just need to protect him, or you can use him on offense as well as like a turtle offense where you just slowly get chipped down and your Krau just slowly kills people one by one. In Guild Wars, he does very well. Krau is a very strong unit to have on Guild War defense. He is also very strong on Guild Wars offense because you can just redirect all the damage to the Krau and he can slowly kill everybody just like you do in Arena. Now in World Arena he did drop off, but he is definitely back because of freaking Carrot. He is a very strong counter to Carrot and you see Carrot everywhere, so now he is very useful. So how do you play with Krau? He is actually quite simple to use. You just exist, take damage, and horse. But if you want to expand on that a bit, Krau is very good because if you have him fast enough, which I do recommend, he will throw out his defense buff right away, give defense buff to your entire team so you can survive a bit longer. You do want to keep in mind and not be too greedy with Krau's S3 though, because if you get greedy and you save that to the last moment because you want to do as much damage as possible, your Krau will most likely die, and you can't horse when you're dead. So that being said, how do you gear Krau? I see only one way to gear Krau, and that is as tanky as possible with some speed and resistance. I do recommend a speed set on Krau because I like that initial speed. So you need no attack, no crit damage, and no crit chance at all. You do want some speed. I do recommend over 200, and you also need him insanely tanky because you need him to survive, and also his horse damage scales off of his lost HP. Now you do want a good amount of resistance. I do have my Krau at over 100 because you do not want to get CC'd. Now as for artifacts, I do personally like Aureus, because Aureus will absorb damage from the rest of your team. So even if no one is hitting your Krau, he is still taking damage, which will allow him to horse. Remember, the horse is the most important thing. Now people do also run Holy Sacrifice because horse. So my final thoughts on Krau, is he worth the pull? Yes, he is definitely worth the pull. He is one of the strongest units when he released, and he is still considered one of the best units in my opinion. He has never gotten a buff, he has never gotten a nerf, he has always been in a very good spot in every meta because he just sits there, takes damage, and does tons of damage. There's nothing more to it. He is very solid, and he always will be. So he's worth the pull. Is he worth the investment? Heck yes. I would give him as many molas as I can to get the cooldown reduction and to get the percentages up on his provoke and his combat readiness pushback. He is super worth the investment. He is a solid tank because he does his tank duties. He provides things to his team. He has crowd control and he has insane damage. you really could draft Krau into any comp and he will be pretty solid. There is no comp you can draft him into where he would be considered bad. Really, the only thing I can see him not being a strong draft again is maybe like a T Surin or someone with stealth. But, you know, you have other teammates rather than Krau, right? So lastly, the Husbando rating, I would actually rate him pretty good. He looks pretty cool. He's got huge armor, he's got super cool hair, and he's just got that look about him that's just, I don't know how to describe it, but he looks pretty freaking cool. And he also looks like quite the gentleman too. He looks like one of those dudes who would just pull out the chair for you and then let you sit and push it back in. Very old-fashioned, very nice. Now, if you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below or join the Discord and we will help you out. Now, hope you enjoyed this and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thank you for hanging out with us, and I'll see you guys next time, man. Bye.